All right, this is a very short video on how Sheets works overall because we're going to be using it in class. If you've used Excel, it's very similar. There's some differences, particularly in the formulas, but in general, it works the same. For those of you that are new to Sheets, there's some important parts that you need to know. So first of all, this is our data set. And you can see that this sheet right here is linked to our form responses. So our responses automatically went to this sheet. This workbook, I can add sheets to. We are going to create a duplicate of this to work in. So I'm going to create a duplicate, and I'm just clicking on this tab for this sheet. I'm clicking on the arrow and I'm going to click duplicate. And the reason for that is that I want to leave this data untouched, keep a raw copy or unedited copy of our data. And in Sheets in Excel, you can also hide sheets. So I'm going to hide this. I'm going to click on that arrow and I'm going to go to hide just so that we don't make any edits to it accidentally. So I'm going to create a name for this sheet. So I can just double click on it and I can change the name there. So I'm going to call this clean data. And I'm not going to clean it in this video because that'll take a little while. But I am going to just talk about some of the main things that you need to know going into using Sheets in case you don't come to class. So first of all, this is a row, and this is row 1, 2, 3. Right now, row 1 is frozen, which means that it is held at the top of the sheet. So if I go down to look at other responses, that doesn't change. So that automatically happens when you create a form and then have it go feed the data into a sheet. But you can also go to view right here. You can freeze one row or multiple rows. I could freeze a column if I wanted to. So I could go to view, freeze one column, and then it would be holding the top row and the left column in the same place. So I'm gonna unfreeze my, I'll leave it. I'll leave it frozen for participant. This is a cell. So CELL, this is a cell. You put data in cells, or you manage data that is already in cells. You can write formulas in them. They can hold all sorts of different formats of information. So this is a word. You can have sentences. You can, if you double click into it, you can do a command or control enter, and you can have different rows of information. So you can treat it like you would text. And you can edit it so you could center it, you can wrap your text, there's all sorts of things that you can do. This address for this cell is A1, so I can refer to things that are in this cell by referring to cell A1. This is B1, C1, D1, etc. So it's where the row and the column meet. So for example, this right here would be D5. All right, a few more basics. So for editing, if you want to, you can select an entire row by clicking on the number of the row. You can select an entire column by clicking on the number of the column. If you click and hold and drag, you can select multiple columns and get the pattern there. Now, this row right here, these are our questions that we asked people, and these are our participants. So row 7 is all one participant's response to each question. Now you can see here that we don't have a lot of numbers, and that's because we collected some data on a Likert type scale, and we collected it as the word. So I will go through and modify that in class with you, but just know that this would need to be a number so that we could create a total score. So here we have words, right? When we have numbers, we want to make sure that it's in number format. So here I could click right here, and this where it says 1, 2, 3, these are formats. I could make it plain text. It's automatically plain text, but I just moved it from automatic to plain text. You can see there's different options here. There's numbers, there's percent, there's scientific, you have accounting, date. Like for example, this is set to a date format, a date and time format. Let's find a number. So this one is set to automatic, and I could click on number and notice that it changed all of them to 2 numbers after the decimal, which you know how I feel about that. I like having everything the same. And so the other thing that I want to show you in this video is that you can wrap your text. So I could highlight this entire row and see how this sentence is cut off. I can click here and I can go to this text wrapping. So I just went to the 3 little dots that indicate that there's more options. I'm going to go to text wrapping and I'm going to wrap text. Now it wrapped the text for the informed consent, which is a little excessive. So I just double clicked on this cell and I can go in and delete all of this. And that makes it a lot smaller. Command B for bold, just like you would in Word or in Docs. So you can do, similar formatting. You can use the format painter paint format right here. So let's say that you wanted to make this row gray, and then you decide or this column gray, you decide you also want to make this one gray. You could just highlight this entire column, click the paint formatter and click there, and it'll copy the formatting. And then some other things that are helpful. When you are creating a formula, which we'll do in class, you need to do an equals sign. So for example, if I wanted to add together this, and I'm just going to make a fake column right here just for the purpose of showing you this. Let's say I wanted to create a total score for these 2 columns. I can say equals, and I could do that plus that. So you can do simple formulas. Google is always watching you, and so it will suggest autofill. So you can accept it if it looks correct. You could also reject it. And when you click on your formula cell, you hover over the bottom right and see how it turns into a little black cross. You can hold and drag down, and it's going to copy that formula down. So those are some basics. That was fast. I just want you to be able to refer to this as a quick reference for some basic skills, and then we are going to go through this in class and clean this data together.